doing the foundation series would have been a loser for you no matter what, because with the foundation series you got the full self-driving, but you already have it and you just be
Yeah.
paying money for it just to have it sooner. So
Yeah.
I think you made a good decision, man.
It's good to hold out.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 45 of 2024. I'm Chris Louie, and eagerly wanting to see who wins the election to see if I cashed in. With me, I have my co-host, Uncle Barbecue, who went all in betting on Jill Stein.
Yes, go Jill. You're going to save us. Good job, Jill. Is she
for JFK?
related for Jill
Or
Stein?
RFK.
Is that Stein? Is that supposed to be Stern? Is that really Howard Stern I'm voting for right there? No?
Jill
All right.
Stein, she's the Green Party candidate.
Oh.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know that was a thing. Never even heard her name. And so I looked at the ballot and I was like, wow, who's that? So it's a little too late. She should have campaigned a little bit harder, guys.
Her and Ralph Nader.
Oh, God.
And we have Glenn Medina, or should we call him Seattle-based Glenn, or SBG. How was the food at the Delta Lounge?
Well, I don't get into the Delta Lounge. That's not me. I think you're thinking of some other Asian guy that's like another foot taller. But yeah, no Seattle this week. Heading to Maui. So yeah, should be a good time.
Nice.
Oh yeah. How long are you going to go for, man?
Just 3 days. Yeah, 3 days. Come back on the 4th. So yeah.
I don't know about that.
Which part of the island?
Long flight.
Just get away for
Lahaina's
the
still
weekend.
not rebuilt. You got to be on the west side of the island?
So interesting.
east.
Interesting you say that. I'll be on the south. We'll be in Kihei. But I just had a friend come back, and he was telling me Lahaina is not totally gone. He says there's buildings that are there, buildings that are gone, and they're just right across from each other. So what was portrayed inside of the media is totally not true. But again, I'm not there to see it. There's still parts of it that are cordoned off for people to go and visit or see. But from the most part, he said it was interesting that it wasn't the massive destruction. It's destruction, but it wasn't the total mass destruction like everyone had been describing in the news. That fake news, So
What you're saying is the media has lied to us. What a shocker.
maybe, yeah. It's unfortunate. It's like, who was the guy that was standing in the ditch filled with water, and people were walking? Is it Anderson Cooper, right? That
Yeah,
had
that was
himself
Anderson Cooper. Yeah.
half buried in the ditch, kneeling, and there were people walking across
And just
the
some
Walmart
guy
parking
walks
lot or
by. It's like ankle deep.
something. What a turd!
Turd burglar.
No guests this week, just us hosts. Combined, we have decades of information security experience. They're here not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This week, we're going to talk about Mickey Mouse needing an EpiPen. Okta commits a boneheaded move. For our third topic, we update you on a story we did last month and close with election predictions. We are recording this episode on Monday, so this is the day before the election here in the U.S. All polls and many betting markets point to it being a neck-and-neck race, so we might not know the result for some time. Hopefully by next week we'll have something more to discuss.
I'm just hoping that we know by next week. That'd be phenomenal.
I mean, it's not a
I miss the good old days.
December 31st
Yeah.
decision still.
Yeah.
Well, technically they have until January 10th. That's when the election's certified. So they have some time to battle it out in court, which inevitably will likely happen. But more on that on topic 4 for election predictions.
Yeah, no kidding. Pause.
For our first topic, a disgruntled former Disney employee allegedly hacked into a third-party menu software used by Disney's restaurants and changed allergy information on menus to say that foods that had peanuts in them were actually safe for people with peanut allergies. He also added profanity to menus and at one point changed all the fonts used on the menus to wingdings. And for those of you who don't know what wingdings is, it's a font that just puts all the characters using symbols. Just like there's no way to figure out what was written because it's just all symbols. He did this after getting fired, but Disney, surprise, surprise, failed to change passwords and deactivate accounts, so the disgruntled employee maintained access for far longer than he should have.
So Disney must have thought passwords are like fairy dust, right? You only need to sprinkle them once. And turns out Tinkerbell can't save you when an ex-employee, out there trying to turn the menus into profanity-laced allergy nightmare. I will say that I'm normally okay with this kind of behavior, but not that I'm have any peanut allergies, but that could pretty much suck for somebody.
I would have done something a little different instead of doing the peanut allergy thing. I would have made everything like 99 cents on the menu. And customers always right. We're like, hey, listen, the menu says 99 cents. Why are you charging me $35? Right?
I know.
I would have
win one for the average Joe.
Exactly.
Bro, we went off-roading this weekend and went to my wife and my daughter, my oldest daughter. They wanted to get some food on the way back. And so I lost the bet because we're out in the middle of nowhere. We had to go to Taco Bell. And
oh, yeah.
Chris's favorite.
Say no more.
Yeah. What do you think it cost 3 people, only 2 drinks total, Chris, for that small family of 3?
$40. I got $40.
40 sounds right. The amount of bean and cheese burritos that Brian can devour, maybe 50.
So we'll have to give it to Glenn since he hit it up first. $38.71. I missed the good old days of 59, 79, 99 cent menu.
Yeah.
My gosh, dude, I was blown away. Like we ordered. It was the self-help menu, I guess.
Yeah.
The robot, and when I saw the price, I was like, get the hell out of here! What the heck happened? Like, I got quesadillas and tacos.
I know those
But
crunchy tacos.
they get you with the chalupa.
Yeah, 59 cents. Now they're like $3 or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've been known to do a little late night run at Taco Bell with my wife, and we get there and they're like, okay, the only thing I'm gonna order is the pizza, right? So we order the
Mexican pizza.
And
You
then
can say
I'm like,
Mexican pizza, Glenn. It's literally called that.
It used to be the pizzazz pizza. Do you remember when it was called the pizzazz pizza?
Never. It's always been the Mexican pizza.
Really?
You're a lie. I worked there in the 90s,
I
buddy.
thought it used to be called the pizzazz pizza. Anyways, we got that, and I was like, oh, I want to add 2 tacos, right? And it was like $8 or $9. And then with or without a drink, it added another $1 or $2. And I'm like, well, let's just keep going. Let's just keep adding stuff on here for another $1. So like I said, I ended up walking out of there like $12 for a Mexican pizza, 2 tacos, and a drink.
I mean, Taco Bell's, I guess, argument here is that they did have some stuff that was $1-ish, I think, on the menu.
Yeah.
But where they get you is like, oh, you want nacho fries? That'll be $7.99.
You want
Like,
you want a super? You want guacamole, or you want sour cream? That's an extra $3, right? So you're like, bastards.
Bro, when I worked at Taco Bell back in the day, and people would ask for sour cream, like extra sour cream, they got a burrito of sour cream. Like they had like this. It was like a cocking gun where you're supposed to, like, normal one was like just like one little cock, boom, and then I'd be like, oh, you got extra? Here's 12, boom, 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 boom. I just unloaded every time. Or then
funny.
The most messed up thing would be people that would be like, yeah, we want the soft taco light, right? Which is supposed to be like the better for you stuff, and we just give them the regular thing anyways. Like, it's so messed up. People are just over there trying to kill a diet, and I'm ruining dreams.
Yeah.
All right, I asked Grok, so you're both correct. So the Taco Bell Mexican pizza was originally introduced as the Pizzazz Pizza in 1985.
Boom.
This name was changed in 1988 when it was renamed to the Mexican pizza.
I mean, in my defense, I
Brian
wasn't
worked
even
there in
born
the
yet,
90s.
so that's
Yeah.
Shut up.
back
Thank
when
you,
you're coming
Grok,
back
for the
from
fact check.
Vietnam.
I was dating my wife.
Going through the donkey show.
Was it 85? No, we started dating in 89, 88. So yeah.
Life just flashed before my
Yeah,
eyes.
the donkey show.
Damn.
Oh my god.
The donkey ping pong show, right?
Yeah, ping pong. Pick a color, any color.
Back to this menu. I think if the guy changed all the prices to 99 cents, it'd be obvious. But like if you remove allergy information, it's less obvious. And he actually did something funny. So the Wingdings font, he changed it so that he changed the name of Wingdings to like Times New Roman or whatever. So when it went through the automated checks, it says, yeah, the font is Times New Roman, but it was actually Wingdings, so he just renamed the font. So there are all these automated checks you can do, but obviously like a human should look at this. And Disney said all the menus were printed, but they were not shipped out yet, so they were able to at least catch it, but now they have to reprint them all.
No. So these were print? Who the hell does print anymore? Like, what is that about?
Disney does.
Yeah, I thought this would have been better if it was like digital signage. So
It's probably both. Yeah, it's probably both.
yeah.
But then there's some places that would still have printed menus.
So imagine though someone ordering stuff that said people with peanut allergies didn't have issues with the food, and then you ended up killing somebody because of that, right? That would have been bad.
So that's the tragic part.
That would have been really bad. Yeah.
I mean, usually, and I'm just thinking here, like usually if you have like severe allergy like that, you always tell the server, and the server, regardless of the menu, should know the allergy. Then especially the cooks in the back, like they should know. Like if you write on the ticket severe peanut allergy, like they should know not to give them this item that has been exposed to nuts. You would think there'd be those safeguards in place. You're not just going to rely on a menu, but you know these are Disney workers, so who knows?
So we were at Magic Kingdom, I think, in Orlando, and we were hungry, right? And it was time to eat, and so my wife's like, "Yeah, get food. It's like just get, there's hot dogs. Get the hot dogs for the kids." So I was like, "All right, we'll get some Coney hot dogs." And here is the image of this, and keep in mind, everybody was pretty young at this point, maybe teenagers, and this is the hot dog that your girlfriend tells you not to worry about, right? Like,
Yeah.
Don't worry. Dude, these hot dogs were so big, and we got 6 of them. I think we only ate maybe 2. Like, it was just insanely too much food. So if you're looking for a value meal in the Magic Kingdom, the Coney dog was legit. Like, it was this massive.
But you can get that for Costco for $1.50 with a drink.
No, this was, again, bigger? Costco was you, right? Yeah. This is bigger, badder, uncut. I'm telling you, bro.
Hey! Thanks, Brian.
But no, it was, yeah. Did you not see the hand? Like, that was a giant's hand in that picture, so.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. But I don't think it was actually valuable. I think it was still probably like a $70 lunch, and of which we can even eat. Yeah. I think my pride made me eat it, but there's no right way to eat a hot dog.
You just felt like disgust afterwards. You hated yourself for finishing all that food.
No, I never felt like that. This proud moments in beach history.
You think this guy's going to ever get another job again after doing what he did?
Oh, yeah. He's a legend. I'm going to hire him.
Maybe the restaurants will hire him as like a pen tester now.
Yeah.
You want to do the ZIA documentation? It can't get any worse, I'm saying.
Yeah. Having that allergy information removed, adding profanity. Like, he was just clearly joking around. I mean, it could have had dire consequences, maybe, but yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see what
they actually show a picture of the profanity, right? Because the profanity could be like Mickey Mouse is a dumbhead, and like, well, I don't know. I guess that's profanity.
Change Mickey Mouse, do a find and replace Mickey Mouse with Dirty Rat. That'd be funny.
Yeah. That's actually hilarious. This goes to show you, when you got a giant organization, how many employees do you think Disney has worldwide? Mm-hmm. Cruise lines and everything?
Million plus?
No. I would say like 70,000.
No way.
No, I bet you it's over 100. It's got to be.
You're forgetting like Disney Studios too, right? So.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking knowledge workers, not like the park employees.
Yeah.
No, we're talking all them guys.
All encompassing. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. 225,000. All right.
I wasn't even close.
Total? Yeah, I wasn't even close.
Total.
Either. That's amazing. I would have thought more than that. Like hotels, park, plus resorts. And there's 7 parks, right? Or 5 parks, right?
Dude, they got 7 cruise ships. alone.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Maybe maybe those people on the cruise ships are not employees and they're all contractors. Maybe they're more contractors, than anything else.
Yeah, this is 77% of the employees are full time, 16% part time, 7% are seasonal.
Yeah, I can see that.
Did they get rid of all their Disney stores? I know there's still some.
They got rid of the one in Arizona, that's for sure.
Yeah, they got rid of the one in San Francisco a long time ago. I don't know if they still have... Everything's e-commerce now anyway.
Talk about profitable, right? I wish I'd spent $89 on a foot-long statue of Mickey Mouse. Like, really?
Yeah.
It's always expensive.
All right, for our second topic, this will be our boneheaded story of the week. I could not believe it when I read about this on InfoSec Twitter, but it's actually a true story. If you have an Okta username that's longer than 52 characters, then you, in theory, could log into the account with literally any password. How is that possible, you may ask? Well, Okta employs the bcrypt algorithm to create a hash using the user ID, the username, and the password. The maximum length for the input of the hash is 72 characters, so when you account for things like the user ID, delimiters, and the username, the password can only be 52 characters, or the entire hash can only be 52 characters. So if you take all 52 characters with a username, then it completely drops the password from being hashed. So you could have literally anything, and it would pass the check. So really, Okta? This bug existed for about 3 months before being discovered and responsibly disclosed. Okta has patched this in production now. And just to clarify, this is not Okta proper, like when you log into your corporate account. It's some kind of like AD Federation tool that they use, but still. Bcrypt has been around for so long, like, how do you not know about this?
All right, raise your hand.
Pretty cool. They give them an entire quarter to test it, so...
Raise your hand if your password's greater than 52 characters. Come on, Chris, raise your hand.
That's not the password.
It's not the password. It's the username.
Username. Oh.
So I would be C. Louis.
Yeah.
So you're G. Medina, so that'd be fine. But if people have really long names, or if you do like first name dot last name, they're really long, or your domain is really long, then you, in theory, could get a 52 character username.
Wow.
Well, you know what is always at... Well, I should say is. Let me start that over. You know what most likely it would be? What kind of account it would be that would be over 52 characters?
Service account.
Service account. You nailed it, baby. It's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I guarantee.
Yeah, like a machine name, or machine name at domain, and some really long host name. Some naming convention.
Why do we pay for this dot? Prisma sucks dot. Never mind.
Machine tunnel dot do not reset this password dot.
You know what? I gotta say, classic Okta. They're out here really pioneering the whole password optional movement. Good job, guys.
They're very forward thinking.
Yeah, very 1883. I'm digging it. I'm into it. I guess they're just like, I guess if your username is longer than your CVS receipt, right? You know, passwords are optional.
CVS receipt or Costco receipt? So in your case.
No, CVS has got them.
No, CVS is way worse. Yeah.
Really?
You know the joke about that. Hey, have
Dude,
you not been to CVS recently?
No, I don't go.
Yeah. But you buy one thing, it's longer than my entire
really?
Costco receipt. That's for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. We have this thing when my kids get a shot, we usually take them to the CVS across the street. We let them buy something, like buy a candy or a bag of chips or something. So we buy, like Brian said, we buy one item from the CVS. And the thing, no joke, is it's enormous. Like, because you print out, the actual receipt isn't bad. It's all the coupons that they print at the end. It's like twice as long or 3 times as long as the actual receipt.
It's like the Disney Coney dog, right? It's the receipt she tells you not to worry
Disney
about.
Coney dog, yeah.
There's
some Halloween costumes. Look that up. CVS receipt Halloween costume. It's hilarious because it's just like a really, really long receipt.
Do you think the fix was filed under "Oops, our bad"? Dad joke.
Bug report.
With all that said, I still like Okta.
Yeah.
They're really trying to push me down one way over here, but I'm gonna hold the line. Still say I like Okta.
Yeah, Okta's
Shame on you for having long user names.
User error. Blame the user.
Yeah.
Well, it's really not their fault.
Yeah, thankfully it's not like Okta proper. Like if it was Okta proper, you would hope this would have showed up sooner in some kind of QA or some kind of pen test. But it was, I think there's certain conditions, like it's for this AD Federation service, and it had to be a cached credential, so a user had to log in successfully one time. It caches the credential, and then when they take the hash of your username, then it would have matched the cache credential and then let you in.
What if this was a conspiracy to get you off of AD?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you
No,
still
I'm
doing
okay
on
with it. Yeah. AD's for losers. Go to Pure Okta Shop. Let them create crappy OSs.
I think that's the future. Universal Directory and Okta and Entra and all those. Like on-prem AD is gonna. It'll still be around for legacy, but every new company I talk to that's been started within the last couple of years, everybody's on cloud identity now.
It makes sense, right? I mean, why would you go to a path that's so isolated and closed, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, all your services are in the cloud, so why shouldn't your identity be there too?
Yeah. It's probably because there are a lot of people's concern that that identity in the cloud could be compromised. Is that a thing that people should be concerned about? Maybe like government, right?
Let's say I have GovCloud.
Yeah, but still in the cloud, right? There's
It is.
still
What's
that
worse,
chance,
like
that remote chance that something might
Here.
happen.
FedRAMP certified GovCloud or this crappy AD server that's out of date that requires a VPN to access? Like, what's better?
Yeah, I can see your point there. That hasn't been patched because you failed to change the password from password to password. So,
Yeah, it's just like when we had all those Exchange bugs. Like, it was only the old school, I want to host my own email, get off my lawn types. Those are the guys, or those are the companies that got hacked because they still host their own Exchange and they don't update. But if you had Office 365 host it, like, you're always on the latest version because it's in the cloud.
I have
I'd
nothing
like
add
to see
that.
the
It sucks.
root cause analysis of this one, how this one got black. Because apparently it wasn't always like this. They said it started in July, and then they just found it. So they pushed something that caused this to happen. I don't know if they switched from one algorithm to bcrypt or what, but yeah, it was exposed for about 3 months.
Idiots. Just kidding.
Just imagine the threat actors out there, had they discovered this earlier, like, oh, we could have gotten into all these Okta accounts, had we known.
They just have to hope that those Okta accounts are then overprivileged. You can just bounce around anywhere, but yeah. We haven't heard anything negative in the news about people being compromised. So
No,
maybe it wasn't
I
that
think
popular.
the security advisory said there were no known. It wasn't known to be exploited in the wild, so they caught it responsibly first, thankfully.
Well, no one ever
see.
comes out and says that, hey, we've compromised this, right? I mean, it's like, why?
Sometimes they do, or sometimes Okta can have telemetry, and then they can know whether or not this has been exploited. But one of their investigative controls, I guess they said, go into your logs for the last 3 months and look for suspicious logins from any account that had more than 52 characters in it.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably identify them. Sub 1% of the whole environment probably has greater than 52 characters, right?
Yeah. And since Okta is not Microsoft, they did not lose a month's worth of your security logs.
Maybe that's why Microsoft lost all those logs.
Oops.
Yeah.
Maybe they were using bcrypt and yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So if you're working for a company and you're you're the Okta guy, they're like, all right, go look in the logs. Do you want to A, find the log, or B, not find the log? Where are you at?
You got to find the log because you want to know if anybody logged in when they weren't
No.
supposed to.
No. Let's say either way. Like either they did and you guys got owned somehow, or B, you checked all the logs and you know for sure that you were not exposed. What would you rather have?
In both situations,
Find it or
you're
no?
fired, right? You're fired if you don't have the logs, for sure. Like, hey, you configured this damn thing. Where are the logs? Am I wrong with that?
I think it's better to...
No, it's not the logs. I'm just saying you're looking to see if you were actually breached, right? And so you're doing the threat hunting on this. Do you want, like, I'll be honest with you, if I am working anywhere and that's my goal, I actually kind of want to find the log. Because I just know there's a storm behind it and a lot more work to come up with, from that. As opposed to, I checked all the logs, we weren't breached, we can sleep soundly. I'd rather find out that we were.
Oh, that you were?
Yeah.
But the logging was good enough that you caught him.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking along the lines of, like, there were no logs for you to look at because it got lost somehow. So
you didn't pay for that logging tier, Glenn.
Yeah,
You don't pay for security logs.
Yeah.
If the InfoSec write-up for the policy is that every domain account has to have a username 52 characters or longer, and I'm the one that decided that, then yes, I'm hoping that I lost all the logs and it never happened. Yeah. Whose idea was it to come up with this?
It's going to be very safe account. 52 characters, right? No one's going to be able to hack that.
Yeah. The service account. SVC _ server name _ hard-coded IP address _ what it's intended to be used for _ dot protocol that it would be used for. I have no idea. It could happen. I could see somebody out there doing that.
Do people still do that? I would have thought I'd be under the assumption that people don't do that anymore, just for, you know, making sure that no one could see the nomenclature of how devices are created, right? It'd be like some arbitrary name that's inside there, right? Just like tenancy, right? You don't create a tenant in the name of a company that you're using, right? All that kind of gets hashed.
You would think, but with all the, you think of like a JP Morgan Chase or a Citibank or a Halliburton or something, they have hundreds of thousands of devices. Like, you have to have a consistent naming convention or just things get lost. It's, as much as you want to obfuscate that kind of information, the risk of using some kind of random naming convention and then you have to map it later, it's not going to happen. Like, they're going to follow this standard naming convention. It
was many years ago when I worked for a previous company. Your name, your user ID was some random ID. There was no longer first name dot last name or first combination of. You were just some hex desk number that you used to log into the system. So
I
had the same thing
at a company. 8,000 employees. So it wasn't huge, but your login name was a combination of your first and last name. It wasn't like C. Louis, like that's too obvious, or Chris L. That's too obvious. It was a combination of my first and last name, so it's still kind of easy to remember, but it was not a standard naming convention.
Yeah. And
they added a random number at the end. Like, there weren't any other Chris Louis at the company, but they just added a random number at the end of my username.
69.
Mine was actually at AT&T. It was BD7415. I just, for whatever reason, I have no idea what the 7415 was. I can imagine what BD stood for, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, I may have been talking to AT&T in some life form doing security, and I was bringing that up. I was like, I actually worked there, used to sell phones, and then someone on the phone actually fact checked it. And they're like, because anytime you sell a line or an upgrade or insurance, or you make any modifications that shows your user ID, and they were able to go in there and check, and they said, sure enough, you were actually there, because you can see all these lines that you had sold back in the day, and it was still me. Like, it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
I was like, tell these fools to upgrade, because I sold them like unlimited, 2G internet for $19.99 a month. I'm sure this probably needs to be upgraded, guys.
You're a salesman of the month in February of 1995.
Right?
February, March.
It's funny they even fact checked you.
I think it was just the sheer fact that I remembered the username kind of stood out. He's like, no, I doubt he remembers that. That was a long time. I'm like, nope, I do.
So that brings up another discussion, and this is data retention. Yes. Like, I'm guessing it's been more than 10 years since you worked there. Like, why do they still have logs of all that? Like, there's no need.
It's not a log. It's like you would
account, right?
Yeah, it's just like they have like this thing. It was called Opus. You'd log in, and then it would show like the phone number, and then it would be like created by, and then it had the user ID that was there, and then any changes since would be on that as well.
Okay. I guess as a line selector, you need like an audit trail, but The point is, when you go into like a Twitch or a T-Mobile and they say we got hacked and they stole 20 years worth of data, or phone logs, like you don't need logs that were more than 10 years ago of call records. Like, why do you have all this data still that can be hoovered up and stolen by a threat actor? If you don't need it, don't save it. That's what we practice in security, but it never seems to happen with these.
I think there's regulations around that, though, right? For investigative purposes, or
even like financial record. I think it's 7 years, but anything older than that. But like with T-Mobile, they kept call records for like over 20 years. Like, you don't need call records from 20 years ago. Like regulatory, yes. Like if it's a line that has an active investigation or a warrant or something. But for my call logs from 20 years ago, like, you don't need that. If you don't need that, you should delete. Or
you say that now
customers
until you need to find that ex-girlfriend's phone number. Like, hey, can I get that number that I called on this date a long time ago?
You gotta look, buddy. You've been married 30 years, so it's not happening. She did that one thing with her tongue. Yeah. So I hate to say this, but in the effort of always going down a random tangent, I had the idea that I wanted to get a phone number that spelled out, forget the prefix, because I did call these people trying to convince them to give me their phone number, but it was supposed to be like whatever the prefix is, and then nutsack. So I wanted to be my phone number to be nutsack. And so I would call people, and I'm like, didn't you know that your phone number is da-da-da-da-da nutsack? And I was like, do you really want to be known as that person with that? And it never worked out. No one ever gave it to me.
Oh. We'll try and find one for you, Brian.
There you go.
I'm going to keep cycling through phone numbers until I get nutsack for you.
Yeah.
All right, and on the topic of AT&T for our third topic, as a follow-up to a story we did on episode 182 about the Chinese-linked hackers infiltrating U.S. and U.K. telecommunications companies, specifically targeting their wiretapping infrastructure. Threat actor group Salt Typhoon successfully breached AT&T, Verizon, and Lumen to gain access to systems put in place as a result from our U.S. Patriot Act that allows for the lawful intercept of phone calls and text messages. We originally thought the Chinese wanted to know who was on the list of people being surveilled for counterintelligence purposes, but the truth turns out to be far worse. The Chinese hacked into these telcos so that they could listen in on phone conversations between members of both the Trump and Harris presidential campaigns here in the U.S. To what end, we do not know, but once again, demonstrates that you do not have to hack into the Trump or Harris campaigns directly. Attackers will find the weakest link, which in this case was the wiretapping infrastructure of the telcos. This comes after news from the Trump campaign that they switched to secure Android phones made by Green Hills Software. I also listened to JD Vance's interview on Joe Rogan, and he's actually pretty well versed in cybersecurity. He knows what he's talking about. And he mentioned that he personally uses iMessage and Signal, and that they're end-to-end encrypted, so even if the Chinese could intercept, they could not read the contents of his messages. Further evidence that this is a giant nothing burger is that we have not had a significant October surprise with 1 day to go in the election cycle.
So, yeah, JD Vance, I was listening to this, I was kind of going back over his interview with Joe Rogan. That was pretty interesting. You're right, he is pretty well versed. I don't know if he was prepped for that conversation, or if he's really, down deep, knows that stuff, and not just providing word salad, right?
I don't think he was prepped. I think he actually knew. Like, he knew the name of the threat group, Salt Typhoon, like right off the top of his head. It's like he knew that. Like that's not something that I think he would have been prepped for. Because like Joe Rogan, as far as I know, he doesn't provide a script. He doesn't screen questions in advance. He's free flowing for 3 hours, and JD Vance sharp as a tack. I mean, I kind of expect that because he's I can't say our age because Glenn's much older than me, but he's my age. He's my age, so he grew up in the internet age, so he should know about things like iMessage and Signal, and especially with cybersecurity being on the forefront of every presidential campaign now. He knows to use encrypted comms because this could happen, and this did happen. Like both of their campaigns did get hacked, but as I said, the evidence that there's nothing, that China didn't get anything. We didn't get any kind of October surprise, which if they wanted to sway the election one way or the other, they probably would have.
So I'm
we're
with
probably
you.
more
Go ahead.
prepared now for anything like that than anything before, right? I mean, after the 2016 and 2020 elections, I think everyone's kind of like, okay, I think we know that some of this stuff is going to be attacked and mimicked and whatnot, right?
Yeah, they're not gonna get another Guccifer 2.0. They're not gonna get a dump of Hillary Clinton's emails again. They're not gonna try to hack into Donald Trump's email like with his password was "you're fired" or something crazy like that. Like that's not gonna happen. This is campaigning 3.0 now, and it's encrypted phones.
Well, that
It's secure.
it's not going to start. It's not going to start on X either, right? Because X doesn't have a whole bunch of people monitoring it like they did before, or trying to sway people's votes. So
Elon freed the bird.
Yeah. Brian, unmute.
He's on mute.
Sorry, I have two different microphones. One for you guys, one for the recording. So good luck editing that, Chris. I apologize. Anyway, so
mute.
number one, let's talk about Salt Typhoon. Like, that is just a badass name. I don't know. Like, I'm into it too. You hack it. Let's call it that for a second. Do you know how hard it is to find the phone number for a specific person? Right? Like, really, you're gonna find JD Vance's phone number? Like, maybe. I think that's a lot easier said than done. 3, F the Patriot Act. Like, it's all their fault. They can even have this ability. And I feel like they didn't hack into the telcos as much as they just hacked into the tool that the government's using to spy on all of us. And then last but not least, I may have been in a room once where we were talking about something. This is definitely not when I was at Zscare. And they would masquerade as doing something for like payment processing. But the reality is a core of their business was 100% focused on secure communications for government entities. And the only reason I know this is because I was in the room, we were talking, and then someone walked in the room, and they're like, "Do you have clearance?" They just start yelling at this kid that actually worked there, and he's like, "No." They're like, "Shut your effing eyes! Don't look at the whiteboard!" Just like going nuts. And I was like, "What is going on right now?" And that's when I found out, like,
You were in a skiff.
like in
Yeah.
dude, yeah. So
You didn't even know it.
and I was like, I had no idea. I'm just like, we're just over here just talking about stuff.
Brian have clearance.
And Brian's taking pictures with his phone.
No, I definitely didn't. But like it was like this level of like, oh my god, like you guys. So your customer is the federal government, right? And like, yes, that's exactly what you're talking about. And it had nothing to do with payment. It had to do with like secure communications over what I would presume just normal voice and text, but they were doing it a different way. Or maybe it was just a third-party app that they were using to leverage, AT&T network or Verizon or something like that. But yeah, it was
a chupacabra.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Chupacabra. See, this is how I know you listen to the stuff I say, man. I appreciate that.
So did you just out Julian's company since he's a payment processor?
No, I don't think so. Prima does other stuff other than that.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Yeah,
that'd be funny. No, there's a couple of payment. Yeah. But
remember when BlackBerry was the standard? The only mobile device DoD would allow was the BlackBerry.
Yeah.
That was technically.
But I was impressed that JD Vance was like, yeah, like we don't. Is it me? Whose internet sucks? Is it mine?
I've got no problems.
Must be me. Chris is like late. I'm screaming at 500 megs
coming in robot-y.
It's Chris. It's Chris.
Okay. Okay, good. I was like,
yeah, my thing says your internet connection's unstable. I'm hardwired in. I don't know what's going on. Looks stable now.
Anytime I'm on a call and that happens, where it's like, "Oh, your internet is unstable," I said, "Just like a salesperson," and then everyone laughs. Alexa laughs, and then the FBI laughs. So, anyways.
The guy hiding in your attic laughs too.
Yeah. My daughter just moved into this. You can't call it a house, but it's not an apartment. It's his own little building. It's like a mini home, but it's not. It's really kind of a bigger thing. It's not a townhome because it's not multi-story and it's not connected to anything. It's just there by itself, and it's a giant apartment complex. And I was like, yeah. I was like, you have attic access? She's like, yeah. There's someone living up there, Dad. I was like, all right. I don't think anyone's actually living in your attic, but she's convinced of it.
Here, just let them run in.
And then the funniest part is, I FaceTimed her. I was like, what are you doing? Because her boyfriend's camping, and she kind of moved a little bit further out. Not a lot of people around her, and she's like, pulls back, and she's got a microphone and a speaker. She's like, I'm doing karaoke. I'm like, by yourself? She's like, yeah. It's great being home alone or living alone.
Nice.
No one gets mad at me when I'm singing. I'm like, I'm sure your neighbors do.
There you go.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Start that recording label.
Yeah. By the way, anyone that's be creepy and try to go visit my daughter, she'll shoot you. Don't come to her house. Don't even knock.
No questions. Arizona's defend your castle doctrine.
Leave her alone.
Yeah, Vic. Don't even try, Vic.
Oh, he doesn't. Yeah, Vic, you have to worry about her boyfriend. Actually, this isn't the oldest one. This is the middle-aged daughter.
I'll just like bane him over his knee and snap his back.
Tate's a big boy, man. I'll tell you what. He's in good shape. That's for sure. I don't like doing chest day with him because he's stronger than me.
All right, for our last topic, it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about our election predictions. As I mentioned on the top of the show, we're recording before the election happens, so we're going to give it our best guess about what will happen in the 2024 U.S. presidential election. And just as a note, this is not what I want to happen. This is just what I'm going to predict is going to happen. I think that's not officially backing one side or the other, but we're just guessing based on all the information and the news that we know what we think is going to happen tomorrow.
I predict there's going to be a lot of crying. I don't know which side, but someone's going to be crying. Maybe if one side loses, they'll be crying a whole lot more, and then cities will get terrorized and then burned down. Right?
All right. So on that note, let's say that these people do right to protest and speak your mind. Go for it. If you start burning stuff down, breaking things, then we got a problem. I don't know that we're going to sit through that again. Period. I think a lot of people will.
I don't think it's any different than the Yankees, right? So the Yankees lost the World Series, and next thing you know, part of New York is on fire. So
is that
LA
true?
was on fire too. So
yeah.
it's kind of like
and the Dodgers won, and
together.
the LA was on fire. So yeah, you're right, Chris.
It's that funny meme that says, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, Philadelphia's on fire. If the Eagles lose the Super Bowl, still city's on fire.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that there's any possibility that we'll have a repeat of Reagan in '84?
Oh. No, for sure.
I'm not saying all red. I'm not saying to be all blue, but do you think there's any possibility that one of these candidates is going to do like a surprise and you're just going to see like boom, 49 out of 50 states just now are on the same page?
No way. No.
I think it's just polarizing. Everything's just polarized right now.
Yeah.
I think there's a Vegas odds on that. I'm going to throw some money on it just for the hell of it, because the odds are going to be so extreme. But if that happened, that'd be pretty crazy.
What do you think it's going to be, like a 70%, 70%, or 100% red?
No, I don't think no one can beat Reagan, man. That was insane.
Yeah.
I would like to go back in time. Was that a surprise? Did people know that was going to happen?
I don't know, actually. I know Mondale was not polling well. I don't know if they expected it to be such a big landslide, though.
Yeah, I think his problem. I think that's the first time. Was it the first time California voted red in quite some time? Right? But California hasn't voted red since Reagan, probably.
Possibly, yeah. Well, he's the governor here, so it makes sense that he won it. And we had Republican governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was the last one. There's been nothing but Democrats since. And Democrats hold a supermajority here. Democrats hold every single elected office in California. So
and that's why California's on fire right now. So.
And there was some crazy stat, and someone can fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think it's something like there were more people in 2020 that voted for Biden than the entire population of Texas, or something. There's something crazy like that. So there's no way that California would ever flip red. Like, that's the whole point of having the Electoral College, is because there's no blue states, there's only blue cities. So if you get San Francisco and LA, like that's it. Like the state has already flipped blue.
Bullets and crap landmines.
And that's what's wrong,
Insane.
right? Because the rest of the state is just so different, so vastly different than LA.
Same
and San
same with New
Francisco.
York. Like look at an electoral map of New York. New York City and maybe Albany are the only blue dots in a sea of red. Like there are no blue states; there are only blue cities.
So what do you think?
I don't
Brian?
think it's got to be a landslide like a Reagan-Mondale. I think the winner will probably get 300 plus electoral votes. Like it's going to be probably a landslide. I guess
If that's true, then we'll probably know election night, right?
You're not supposed to actually fight.
Yeah, well, maybe.
It all depends on the swing
that
states and when they certify, though, right?
The swing states and how close it was. Like Georgia was won by 11,000 votes. That's like 0.1% of the vote or something. So they're gonna have to do mail-in. They got to do absentee. They got to do overseas from all their soldiers deployed there. So if it's close, we're not gonna know for a while. And then on top of that, both sides, this isn't a left-right thing, both sides have already set up the legal infrastructure in all these swing states to sue and try to delay and recount and decertify some of these ballots. Like even up until, was it a couple days ago that I think it was the state was Virginia, like the Supreme Court ordered Virginia to remove all the non-registered voters from their voting rolls. Like people who self-identify as a non-citizen were still allowed to register to vote. Like there's a checkbox that says I'm not a U.S. citizen, but you can still register to vote. Like at least to me that's crazy. Like in order to vote here, you should be
That's fraud.
a legal citizen.
That's fraud, though, right? I mean, that's really just fraud at the end of the day. That's crazy. So I got one question for you guys. You guys doing your early ballot? You guys turning in your mail home ballot? Or are you guys going to go actually into a polling location and submit your votes there?
I mailed mine already.
You've mailed yours already?
My wife did mail in, but I actually physically took the ballot in for her, and then I went and voted last Wednesday, and it was wild. Like it was at the ASU Polytech campus, and there was like nobody there. And I will say the number one, the volunteers that were there, amazing people. I just gotta say that. Like I can be very off-putting. Let's just leave it at that. But they were just great people, and I had some good conversations with some people there. So thank you, people. I would assume they're all volunteers, right?
Yeah.
Or they get paid?
I believe so. Like I did in high school. Like we got a day off from high school if you wanted to volunteer to be a poll worker. So I actually did that. That was actually an interesting opportunity for me, an interesting job. And it was hard work. I think it was like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Something crazy like that. Like a 1 hour.
Oh yeah, the day of the election's late. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you
I still
definitely meet
think
some interesting people, and there's all these rules because in California I worked the primary, and then in California we have a closed primary. So if you're a registered Democrat, you can only vote on the Democrat ticket. If you're a registered Republican, you can only vote on the Republican. But you can also non-identify, or you can be independent. So there's all these weird rules about it.
So I will say, this is where I'm gonna be like, whatever about stuff. So I think one of the biggest outcomes of this election will be, number one, how about making voting day a U.S. holiday? Like, there's a couple of reasons.
Yeah,
I agree.
And then two, I think there will probably be voter ID, and not because the way that you guys think. I think that I think Rogan said it's best. Like, cheating is not zero. Like, there's some form of cheating. And so what if, like, the Republicans are like, two could play this game, right? And so maybe they do this whole thing, they take advantage of it, just like the other side may have done that in the past, and to the point where it just becomes abundantly clear that 500 billion people voted, and there's not that many people in this country, right? Like, that maybe we should do something about it and change it up just a little bit. That's what I think is going to happen. Just some type of sanctity. You want to get rid of all skepticism and doubt? Voter ID, baby.
Yeah.
Just make it that.
I totally agree.
And it's not racist. It's not. I don't care what you say. Anyone can do it. It doesn't take very hard. And I'll tell you what, to illegally vote in Arizona, outside of mail-in ballots, it's impossible. Like, you walk in there, they're asking for the ID, they're validating the ID matches what comes up on the computer, that you haven't already voted. Like, and it was easy. Like, it was just, it took, I don't know, 30 seconds, then boom, you're given a ballot and go do your thing.
All right, Glenn's telling us to wrap up here. So
Oh.
we continue
Oh, yeah,
to get
we're
great
over.
comments about our dad joke of the week.
Dad joke of the week.
This week, Glenn is up.
So we all know that Chris built a shed last week with his son.
Yeah,
And
we did.
his son tells Chris, "That's my step ladder." And he also said, "I never knew my real ladder."
Good one.
You don't
Wah,
get rid of
wah,
me that
wah.
easy.
All right, to wrap things up, a Disney employee removed allergy information from the menus. Okta passwords don't matter. China tried to hack both presidential candidates. And Election Day should be a national holiday. That's all we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers who rate us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. My co-hosts Brian H. and Glenn Medina. I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
Hi, Felicia. Get out there and vote.
Bye, Felicia. Yep. Or next year. In 4 years.
Yeah,
Get out there and
yeah.
vote.
Yeah. Just
Or
comes out after.
thank you for voting out there. There you go.
Thank you for voting. Yeah.
Have a nice day.